How was your vacation? My apologies to everybody. Councilmember Mortland, who's the existing Mayor Pro Tem, is trying to get every last minute of being Mayor Pro Tem he can. All right, where's my little, I'm missing my sheet. Can I steal this one? Let me steal this one. Can I steal that one? I'll give it right back, I promise. Can I give it back to you? Yeah, just for a second. I don't have that one, sorry.
Oh, you got it.
I got that one, good. Good evening and welcome to the City of Roswell Mayor and City Council meeting of Monday, January 13th, 2025. I am Mayor Kurt Wilson. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues and our council members present. Councilmember Sarah Beeson, Councilmember Christine Hall, Councilmember David Johnson, current Pro Tem and Councilmember William Mortland, Councilmember Alan Sells, and Councilmember Lee Hills is with us. She just stepped out. There she comes. Hey, Lee. Councilmember. I will now turn the meeting over to our city administrator, Mr. Randy Knighton, to explain how the meeting is run. Mr. Knighton.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. If I could have that.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. Thank you, Mayor Wilson, and good evening, everyone, and certainly welcome everyone to our meeting this evening. I'm Randy Knighton, the City Administrator. In accordance with Section Chapter 3.70 of the City Code, the City Council shall hold regular public meetings. And the purpose of City Council meetings are for the public to participate and speak on agenda items which constitute formal decisions by the elected body. These items are listed on the published agenda, which can be accessed via the city website prior to the meeting. This is a public meeting, and some items do require a formal public hearing. A significant and important component of City Council meetings are for residents to speak directly to council on items listed on the agenda. And residents are at the top of the organizational chart for the City of Roswell. Therefore, it is imperative that public comments and questions are essential for mayor and council to consider as they contemplate each decision. If you would like to speak on an item, we ask that you fill out a comment card, which can be accessed at the back of the room to ensure an accurate record of the meeting. We ask that everyone observe the principles of mutual respect and display the appropriate demeanor during the course of the meeting this evening, which should be and is reflective of this great community. With respect to the proceedings, we ask that attention is given to the person speaking, and if it is necessary for anyone to have an independent conversation, we ask that you exit the rear doors of the council chambers to the vestibule area. In addition, we ask that you silence any electronic devices at this time. The mayor is the presiding officer and will ensure the orderly exchange of comments, questions, and discussion leading to decisions by the elected body. We encourage everyone in attendance and the viewing audience to visit the city website for meetings, events, and departmental information. We also encourage everyone to review and participate in the various activities and offerings here in the city, which you can find at roswell365.com. There are a number of events upcoming in the city of Roswell which promote community, physical activity, and leisure as we all make Roswell the #1 family community in America. Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Knighton. As always, at this time I have the great privilege of asking Randall Hecht, who is the Roswell Police Department chaplain, to come to the front and lead us in a moment of silence and invocation.
Gracious Lord, we thank you for this time. We thank you for the opportunity to come together as a city full of citizens that also includes our elected and appointed officials, Lord. We ask that you watch over us during this discussion, and this session, Lord. We ask that you do keep us in mind and keep us calmly active in doing what we need to do today for the city. May you keep us in your will and help us to grow in this city. In your Son's holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Randall Heck. Randall is our, mentioned before, our Roswell Police Department chaplain, and Randall does a fantastic job for our police. Thank you, sir, for your service. I now have the great privilege of recognizing and asking the Wiggles Cub Scout Pack 450 to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance along with a presentation of colors.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. For those in uniform, please salute. Those not in uniform, please put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two.
Well done, gentlemen. Thank you. Excellent job. All right, feel free to take a seat. As we let the Wiggles Cub Scout Pack 450 leave, they begged to not stay longer than 5 minutes, and we said, of course. It's incredible. Next on the mayor's report is we're having the esteemed proclamation, the esteemed veteran of Roswell Award. And tonight we're doing something a little different. We're actually showing a video because we're giving the award, or fortunate enough to making the award to United States Women's Auxiliary Corps Verna Bunny Farmer. Myself and Christine and Lee and David were all fortunate enough to be at her 100th birthday. Will was there as well. Sorry, Willie. There last month. And last week, we all went to go see her again to do the esteemed veteran proclamation. So it's a little video. I'm going to let it show now. This is for Verna Bunny Farmer, the esteemed veteran of Roswell Award for this evening.
Hi, I'm Kurt Wilson, your mayor of Roswell, Georgia, and today is a very special day for us. I'm here with Councilmember Will Morkland, Councilmember Christine Hall, Councilmember Lee Hills, and today we have a very special guest, a very, very special guest, one of the greatest generation, Bunny Farmer, a veteran of World War II, and we are privileged to be with her. Recently we celebrated her 100th birthday, and today we're here to do an esteemed proclamation, Roswell Veteran Proclamation on Bunny. So today's a great day for us. We're gonna have a little conversation with Bunny before we read the proclamation. And Will, I'm gonna start with you. I know you had a question you wanted to ask Bunny.
Can you tell us a little bit about your service in the European theater and how many years you served?
I was in for about 8 years, and but most of it was home territory. But I was in England for 4 years.
Christine.
Well, Councilmember Hills asked this question earlier about your flying experience, and we understand you were in a couple of crashes.
Yeah.
Tell us about those.
Well, lucky that I'm here, but it was really rough because we had the first crash and nobody got hurt. So we thought, well, it's going to be a breeze. But that's a whole different thing than the second
everybody knows that behind every man is a good woman. But I want to know about the man behind you. Tell me how you met your husband and where.
He was a Pennsylvania. He was from Pennsylvania. But we people, at that time.
Where did you meet him? When did you first see him? Was it a dance?
Yes,
Tell me
in
about
fact,
that.
it was. It was. But it was up in Pennsylvania.
How did he do? How good a dancer was he?
Not good. But he did all right.
And did he ask you for a date after that?
Yes.
And then what happened after that? You got married?
No, not right.
Okay.
Not right away.
But you kept him.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how I met. Good.
Christine, I've got a question for Bunny. Feel free to keep it there. I'm sorry. So, Bunny, by the way, love your outfit today. Very red, white, and blue. Very,
Well,
very, very patriotic.
I give credit to the two girls that dressed me.
Yes, ma'am. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you most remember? What are you most proud about with your service to our country?
And I went overseas because I wanted to go, didn't get to go. But finally, I went to England, and I loved the people, but it was cold. It was so cold, and
It's funny how we remember those little things sometimes. Hey, the cold, how cold it was, all the stuff going on.
cold was it? Yeah, it was cold. It really was cold.
But we're
But-
so happy that you've given us the time to be with you today. And on the behalf of the city, I would like to read a proclamation to you. May I do that now?
Certainly.
Proclamation, Office of the Mayor. Verna Bunny Farmer Goolsby, esteemed veteran. Whereas Verna Bunny Farmer Goolsby entered the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps in February 1945 and honorably served her country during World War II with the 400th Army Air Force Base Unit at Hamilton Field, California, until her discharge in July of 1946. And whereas Bunny provided vital administrative support for various commands during her service, receiving commendations including the Good Conduct Ribbon, the American Theater Ribbon, and the World War II Victory Medal. And whereas Bunny demonstrated extraordinary dedication to the war effort, recalling fondly her contributions to the transportation and reparation of equipment within the United States, and enhancing her skills through a certificate program at DePaul University that qualified her to build electronics for military vehicles. And whereas Bunny's commitment to service was deeply influenced by her upbringing in Naylor, Georgia, where she learned the values of hard work and giving from her family, as well as by her determination to contribute to the wartime efforts after seeing others enlist. And whereas during her time in the military, Bunny embraced the opportunity to meet new people and serve wherever she was needed. And it was during this time that she met and fell in love with her husband, William Farmer, with whom she later started family. And whereas after her military service, Bunny continued to exemplify strength, resilience, and dedication as she supported her husband's career, raised a loving family, and became a cherished matriarch to her daughters, Patricia and Olivia, and 5 grandchildren. And whereas at the age of 100, Bunny continues to be an active member of the Roswell community at Magnolia Place, where she participates in various activities and shares her creative passion for watercolor painting. And whereas Bunny has inspired others with her statement that women served in the military too, and she encourages all to recognize their contribution to our nation's history. Now, therefore, I, Curtin Wilson, Mayor of the City of Roswell, Georgia, do hereby name Verna Bunny Farmer Gillsby, an esteemed veteran of Roswell, and call upon all our citizens to recognize her outstanding service to our country and our community, and that there's no higher calling than those who serve the United States Armed Forces. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Bunny. Hi, I'm Kurt Wilson, your mayor of Roswell, Georgia, and today is a very special day for us. I'm here with Councilmember Will Morkland, Councilmember Christine Hall, Councilmember Lee Hills, and today we have a very special guest, a very, very
Okay, great.
It should be
It's better
on.
from her.
See if you can hear it. See if you can talk now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I think so. So she said her greatest accomplishment was actually going overseas. And Councilmember Hall had asked some of the things that she had done and what was I forget what your question was, but the response was, you asked her about, Councilmember Hall is a pilot, and so she asked her about being on planes, and she said that she had been in 2 plane crashes. One, they all walked away, and the other one, she and the others were carrying people out, and many were hurt. But she had survived 2 plane crashes. And
But
and then,
she clarified she was not the pilot.
yes, that's right, that's right.
Very important.
Yes, only a pilot would have picked up on that. And then I asked her about how she met her husband, and it was at a dance. And I asked her how good a dancer he was, and she didn't elaborate in the video, but she said he was terrible. And I said, but he asked you on another date, and she said, yes, he did. And anyway, it was just really cute. Miss Bunny is snapping along like a 40-year-old. It's very impressive, and you know, she may have a few pauses here and there, but it was a delight to talk with her and to be able to honor her. So we're grateful that you all got to share her experience tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. I'm glad the city gets to honor her. And obviously, that video will be on the web, so I hope you'll take a look at it and get a chance to experience Verna that we didn't quite share, I think, as much as we'd like to tonight. She's an amazing human being, an amazing person, and a great treasure to our country and a great treasure to our city. And we're very blessed and fortunate to be able to give her the Esteemed Veteran of Roswell Award. So next, I will tell you on the mayor's report is another very important thing. It's the election of Mayor Pro Tem for 2025. Who from the City Council of Roswell would like to make a motion for Mayor Pro Tem? Pro Tem, Councilmember Mortland, would you like to make a motion for the Pro Tem for 2025?
Be excited to make this motion. So, quick question. Are we doing a motion or are we doing a,
Oh, sorry, say again.
are we doing a motion straightforward or are we doing a nomination?
We're going to make a motion for Pro Tem. We're
Got
going
it.
straight forward, sir.
Okay. I would like to motion for Councilmember Lee Hills for this year's Mayor Pro Tem position.
Thank you, Councilman Mortland. A motion has been made for Councilmember Hills to meet for Pro Tem. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Councilmember Halls. Are there any other motions for Pro Tem, Mayor Pro Tem? Being that they're not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Hills being Mayor Pro Tem for 2025, please raise your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Let the record show that the vote is 4-2, and Councilmember Lee Hills is now Mayor Pro Tem for 2025. Congratulations. All right, next on the mayor's report is the appointment of Michael Gilbatis to the DRB, the Design Review Board. Does council have any questions regarding this appointment? Very good. Do I have a motion to approve the appointment of Michael Gilbottis to the Design Review Board?
Motion to approve?
Councilmember Pro Tem and Councilmember Hills has made a motion to approve Michael Gilbottis to the Design Review Board. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Sells. Thank you, sir. All those in favor, by show of hands, please raise your hands. Let the record state that the vote is unanimous for Michael Gilbottis to be on the DRB, Design Review Board. Outstanding. At this time, I'll ask Mr. Gilbottis to come forward to read the oath of office. Good. How about that? These just destroying your name. Am I destroying your name?
Nope, you got it.
Okay,
Go by
good.
this.
About this. Your right hand on the Bible. That's right. Sorry. Right hand on the Bible, left hand is raised.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And then just sign right there. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, David. Next on the mayor's report is a list of upcoming events in the city of Roswell. And I guess, Lee, even as the pro tem, you're going to still have this major task in front of you. So would you do us a favor and tell us a little bit about some of the upcoming events in the city of Roswell?
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you. As always, I want to refresh your memory on Roswell365.com, which is your go-to for upcoming events here in the city of Roswell. You can look up things by genre or by date, and if you would like to post something of your own from your nonprofit organization, your neighborhood, your place of worship, or something else that you want to open up to the public, you may register and create your own profile and account on there for no charge, and then post your own information on there, and it'll be pulled down right after the event has taken place per the calendar. So I encourage you to do that and take a look and see what's coming up in the city of Roswell. As far as the immediate events coming up, we do have our State of the City coming up for the city of Roswell, and that will be held next Friday, January 17th, and that's at the Roswell Cultural Arts Center at 8 a.m. It'll start at 8:30, but come on at 8 to get you a seat, and we would love for you to hear from Mayor Wilson and a few other folks to find out what exactly is going on in our city. This is the Roswell 2025 State of the City, providing an opportunity for residents, businesses, and stakeholders to gain insight into Roswell's accomplishments of the vision for the future of the city. Attendees will hear updates on key topics such as economic development, community projects, infrastructure improvements, and the city's ongoing commitment to enhancing the quality of life. This annual address serves as a platform to celebrate progress and engage with the community in a shared vision for growth and innovation. Starting the same day, January 17th, on Friday, at Roswell City Hall right here, we have When in Roswell, a photography exhibit. This will run through Is it just, I thought that was for a week. I'm sorry. Is it just one day? I believe it goes for a month. But it starts Friday, it's Monday through Friday until January 17th, forgive me, so all next week. This is an exhibit of 30 photographs taken by members of the Roswell Photographic Society showing the amazing array of locations and activities of Roswell. We also have an ongoing series. This is History Seek Saturday, and this one is entitled Victorian Valentines. It'll be held at Barrington Hall Saturday, January the 18th from 11 a.m. to 12:30. I encourage you to check these out. If you haven't tried one, you should. This one, kids, let's celebrate love this Valentine's Day by making a Victorian Valentine's card for a family member, loved one, pet, or friend. Join us at the Barrington Hall Barn, the large gray building directly behind the main house, for a fun craft that can become a treasured gift. We'll have colored paper, pretty Victorian images, ribbon, markers, and other decorative items. You might want to bring a picture to include as a part of your artwork. We'll learn together about how people expressed love in the 19th century. And then finally, also in January the 25th, Journey Through Time, a Lunar New Year concert celebration. This is at the Roswell Cultural Arts Center, Saturday, January 25th at 7 p.m. Step into an unforgettable evening where tradition meets innovation. Magic Eastern Ensemble presents a groundbreaking concert blending the elegance of traditional Chinese instruments with vibrant modern artistry. The first part of our journey through the time explores, the rich history of Dunang murals brought to life through breathtaking visuals and timeless melodies. Then we will explore forward to present day and feel the pulse of a live DJ mixing modern beats with Eastern rhythms for an electrifying cultural mashup. Emerging artists alongside seasoned masters merging Eastern and Western music with dance in perfect harmony. Don't miss this one-of-a-kind Lunar New Year concert celebration. So we hope we will see you out and about in Roswell this month.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks so much. One more item on the mayor's report. It's not on your agenda, but it is something I am very committed to doing, and that is I'm a big believer. I have 4 daughters and a wife, so my life is surrounded by women. Most of the people that, quote unquote, worked for me in my business career were more women than men. All I had was sisters. So I have been humbled and reminded most of my life about my need to constantly apologize when I screw up, which is a lot. And I'm also a big believer is that leadership needs to apologize when it went wrong, and it's awfully important when someone is in elected office, in particular, and is the voice of the city, which is what the mayor is that they be willing to apologize and always willing to when they make a mistake. And I can't apologize for all the mistakes I make because we'd be here all day. But what I can apologize is for a mistake I made on December the 9th. And so on December the 9th, we had comment on some issues, and we had one of our residents who's been here more than once, who I know and is a good resident, a good human being, and I did not give her an opportunity to finish her comments. I did not do a good job of listening to her, and I made some assumptions in some of the things she said. And so her and I met that week, and I asked her to come into my office, and Sarah was with us, and I apologized to her personally, and I want to make sure that I apologize to her publicly, since I made the goof up here in this room. And that's to Daryl. Daryl's back there. Daryl, raise your hand. And I'm making my formal public apology to you for my interrupting you on December the 9th, and I thank you for your graciousness. Thank you. And that's the last thing on my mayor's report. But again, thank you for taking my apology. I really appreciate that. And that is it for the mayor's report. We move on to the consent agenda. And let me see. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. Does council have any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Being that they're not, I'll ask if any Roswell residents would like to speak on the consent agenda. Being that there's none, I'll bring it back to council for any additional follow-up comments or thoughts. Being none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilmember Johnson, thank you for your motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Sells. Thank you so much. All those in favor, by a show of hands, please show your vote if you're yes on the consent agenda. By show of hands, it is unanimous, 6-0. Thank you very much. Now we move to the regular agenda. He did second it. Sorry, yes. The first item is under economic development. Our liaison on economic development is former Pro Tem William Mortland. And Will, I'm going to let you explain the item to us, please, sir.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we're going to open up the meeting to our Roswell residents and Roswell business owners to comment on future policies within the city of Roswell related to parking.
Thank you, Willie. And I'm gonna turn it over to our other colleague, Alan Sells. We'll let you know. I'll let Alan introduce it. Alan, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I would like to make a couple introductory comments if my colleagues will allow it. We did meet with a lot of the Roswell businesses recently and had a conversation about this very topic, and they asked a couple of things, and I'm going to make a motion at the end of these windy comments about that, if I could. But first, I'd like to tell, it's a night for mea culpa, so I have a mea culpa myself. Roswell neighbors, these are great people to work with. They're gracious, and this being my freshman year on council, they are just a gracious bunch. And we enjoy each other's company. And they all were so precious to exchange Christmas gifts among each of them, all except one. And as our mutual friend Link Forrester warns frequently, I would like to introduce you to my socially awkward friend Alan. So I was that social dolt who gave no Christmas presents to my associates here. So I really would like to make that up by presenting, if I could, some of the comments and the request by our business friends in the form of a verse, if I may. 'Twas the first year on council for two noisome new members who came from the east only just last December. Spring found the mayor and Randy, with lawyers and all, nestled snugly one evening in Pug Mabry's hall. Gathered they to consider where the parking be decked, so delivering relief as the votes did direct. When from open mic there arose such a clatter, a famous bow tie rose to declaim on the matter. And what did befall Mayor's intensely inclined ear? A way must be found to save stuccoed history so dear. As all the wee children know well by age 3, taxing our neighbors does not indeed make it free. On the matter of parking, St. Kurt granted your wish. You are, dear owners of commerce, you are welcome to dish. Now Ryan and Renee, now Bruno and Rayford, on Buddy, on Curling, on Jenna and Howard. For we want your wise counsel, we want it, we do, but dash up to the mic, for your minutes are 2. So Mayor, the business community asked if they could speak on this matter, and if you would give a dispensation, which you have graciously granted. And they asked that even though they're not Roswell residents, if they could speak. And also they asked if we limit this to 2 because they have businesses to run. They wanted to have 2 minutes per speaker, if that would be okay with the council. So my motion is I would like to put forward a motion to allow the owners of Roswell businesses to speak on this matter tonight and be limited to 2 minutes.
Outstanding. It doesn't have to be a motion.
It doesn't have to be a motion.
It's actually.
I reclaim my motion.
We love it. I love it. Yeah. No.
Sarah, Jeff, and Don, Randy, and I met with these guys in December. It was a great conversation, and I hope they will share some important insights for us because, quite frankly, we are not making the policy tonight, but we're here to listen. Thank you.
I think that's a great introduction. So I imagine a lot of people here want to talk about parking. And so both business and residents, and it is the first item on the regular agenda. Just for clarity, to let you know that the council is legitimately taking what you have to say tonight and putting it into their information base. There has been no formal policy, to my knowledge, that I am aware of that's been decided on the parking matter. And this part of the strategy was to have this meeting so that you could come and share your thoughts and insights. I will share with you that the council will be working on this next week at Leadership Council. They will be working on parking, so the timing is absolutely perfect. And then there'll be another public meeting where council will talk about the policies that they are thinking about enacting, and that'll be obviously here for you to be as well and to discuss the matter. So this is kind of the first formal place for you to weigh in and share your insights and thoughts. I'm going to ask, since Alan met with a group of business leaders in December, along with Don and Mr. Knighton, and David, you were there too, right? Sarah, you were there. I think the agreement was for 2 minutes. So I'm going to ask to start with the business, and then we'll move to residents, because residents have 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask the businesses to start with 2 minutes. So come join us, whoever would like to start. On the business side, please, on the business side.
Clarifying question. If I am both resident and business owner, I assume that means I get 5 minutes.
I will, then I'd probably say for you to go to the back of the line as a resident if you want 5 minutes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for that clarifying question to the by the way. Yes, sir.
Coming for a business?
For your business, yes, sir. 100%. Yes, sir. Welcome. Share with us with your business and your name.
My name is David Bailey. I own Naylor Hall on Canton Street. I own 2 acres on Canton Street, and we are the oldest business on Canton Street. The business has been in continual operation for over 30 years. We bought it a little over 15 years ago. We have never, ever been consulted on any of the multitude of changes, issues, street closings, you name it. And if somebody in my position that has been in this community as long as I have hasn't been consulted, I'm guessing a lot of the people that have been here less time than me have not been consulted either. So that leads me to believe that either the whole paid parking debacle has already been decided, or that possibly council doesn't care what the business owners think. And I know that's a little harsh. I'm speaking for myself. As a small business owner, we commit capital to our community and our business. That's another way of saying that we put our life savings into our business. So it is personal. It's very personal. And we have to deal with issues like parking, the deck, paying, call it what you want, long after all of y'all are long gone. As I said, my business has been operating for over 30 years, and I've personally owned it for over 15. When I go to dinner here or elsewhere, I don't want to pay for parking even though I can afford it. Why? A couple of reasons. Human nature, and also I'm about to drop $200 or $300. Not especially when I can go around the proverbial block and go to Woodstock, Alpharetta, Cumming, Kennesaw, fill in the blank.
Thank you, David.
And
thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
I understand.
That's 2 minutes. Thank you.
And so what I'm saying is,
thank you, sir.
Roswell is going to pay a price for this. I understand. I understand. I've got one more sentence to state. As I said, I've never been consulted before, so why would I be consulted now? All I'm saying is Roswell is going to pay a proverbial price for this because businesses are going to leave. Businesses are already
David, sir,
leaving.
your time is up, please.
I understand.
Then your time is up.
Businesses are leaving. It's going to cost Roswell.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next business, please. Welcome, Jenna.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Hello, Jenna.
Jenna Ronowitz from 948 Canton Street. We've been 1920 Tavern. Hate talking in public, but I'm going to do what I have to do. Parking is the most talked about topic when I'm talking with our guests and our residents. My very first meeting with the Roswell Business Meeting Association in 2015, the first topic of the meeting was parking. Ryan started off our meeting, and that was 10 years ago. We're still talking about the same things we did 10 years ago. I want to say that I believe in growth and I believe in development, but we have to be responsible when doing so. You have to improve your infrastructure. You can't just keep opening and keep building when your infrastructure isn't ready for it. There have been no updates on and around Canton Street for 10 years. No updates to roads, parking, sewer, water, drainage, nothing in 10 years. But yet we keep growing and we just don't fix the infrastructure. More than 6 years ago, the buildings behind Canton Street were torn down, and a parking deck and a hotel were supposed to come. We are still looking at an empty lot. We've been looking at a chain link fence for 5 years. We used to have valet there. Our valet was taken away because they had to tear it down and rebuild. Nothing was rebuilt, and we've not had valet since. The citizens overwhelmingly voted to pay for the parking deck for Canton Street and for the downtown area. They did not vote the city to make money from it. They voted to pay for it and for the citizens and the guests to use it. It's completely unfair for the city now to start charging for every space without building a deck first. You all have raised the citizens' property tax to pay for this, and this is just not fair. The business owners...
Jenna, thank you.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I guess Ryan gets the
No,
time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Yes, next Roswell business.
I'll keep it to 2, Mr. Mayor.
You sure?
Yes, sir. I just got a call. I got to run back to the restaurant.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you for allowing businesses to speak tonight. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us up here. I do want to take advantage of my time just to enter onto the record that at the meeting we held, and I appreciate you for having that, there were about 30 business owners there, give or take 20, 30 folks. The feeling was pretty unanimously against the idea of paid parking. And one of the things we broached was that between the idea of universally free parking, every space is free all the time, and universally paid parking, every space is paid for all the time, there's a lot of room there. And in the nature of democracy in America, let's come to a decision none of us are happy with. So a lot of ideas we brought up. I'm happy to review those again. You, I think, have a record of those. You know, I was wearing this shirt about 10 years ago, and it's funny and silly. And by the way, it's not custom. You can find shirts for anything online. But I had to dig it back out of a bin in my basement because, you know, get called to the banner again. And here we are talking about parking. And what Mr. Bailey said is correct. We've owned businesses for a long time on Canton Street, and we keep fighting this same battle over and over again. Parking is oxygen to restaurants. A long time ago, people said, we'll ask people to park at City Hall. Well, that's great unless it's raining, unless you're our honored veteran who can't walk all that way, unless you're a young lady walking off a shift with a bunch of cash in your pocket and you got to walk through Sherwood Forest to get back to your car. So the idea of the parking deck where it is great. That's huge progress. But we take that progress been made with a parking deck and to scuttle that by making it paid when all of the neighboring communities around us are offering as an amenity free parking. Woodstock, Norcross, Alpharetta, Sandy Springs. These places offer this amenity to their citizens and visitors alike. The visitors and residents, when they eat at our restaurants, pay a ton of taxes. We're the only ones who are taxed just slightly less than hotels. So my thought would be, if we want to be in the business of parking, your revenue generation comes from bringing more people to downtown, they spend more money, and we pay more taxes. So help me pay more taxes, and let's make parking free so we can compete on the level with our sister cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, sir. Other Roswell businesses? Okay. I'm going to assume there's no more Roswell businesses that want to speak. Howard, you don't, no? Okay. All right. So go Roswell residents. Any Roswell residents? Yes, sir. In the back. Welcome. Hello, Jason. How are you, sir?
All right, all right, all right. I just have a couple of things, and I don't think the restaurant people are going to be on the same page with me on this. My concern is paying twice for parking, paying in a general revenue bond and then paying to actually use the facility. But if we have enough of a base to support the bonds with the other parking revenue in addition to the revenue being generated by the parking deck itself, then if the idea is to make it a revenue bond, then we're not, as residents, paying twice. I would like that. In terms of the other areas for parking, if it's on the street, if it's in a park, I think Roswell residents need to have a parking pass. If people park and they live here, they get a ticket because they don't have a pass. They should, on the ticket, it should say, if you are a Roswell resident, come to City Hall, get a parking pass, and we will waive the fine. As far as parking in the parks that have athletic facilities, on game day, everybody parks for free. But during the week, if you don't live here, you pay to park. If you live here, it's free. A lot of the problems that we've had at the mill would probably self-resolve with pay to park for people who don't live here, because it's a lot of young people and they're not going to pay to park. They're going to find someplace else to go. That's not a bad thing. I hate going to the mill to walk my dog and I can't park. That's not a good thing. The only place you have an issue with parking and non-residents is Azalea Park, and that's because Fulton County owns it, you lease it, the conditions of the lease, and even if you were to buy it, would prohibit the city from treating non-city residents that live in Fulton County different than city residents. That's another animal altogether. And if you're going to go to a revenue bond and use all that other parking revenue, I don't have a problem with residents paying to park in the deck, but I don't want to pay for it in a general revenue bond because I'm not using that deck. And if you're not using something and you're paying for it, it's not free. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks, Mr. Yao. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Other Roswell residents? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Erin Brumley. I live in Martin's Landing, and I'm just very confused because the agenda says that we're here to give residents and businesses time to give their thoughts on the parking policy. Where's the policy? We're all talking about a speculation. We don't know which areas are specifically, like you're asking us for feedback on something that you haven't said yet. So I don't know if you're including parking where, parking City Hall. It's just that I'm very confused. I thought you were going to present policy and then we could talk about it, but you're having us, again, this is all a speculation. So that's all. Thank you.
Aaron, if you mind, I can address that. So, like Mr. Gal just came up here and he just suggested 7 different ideas. And so, to your point, he's making on the record to the council 7 suggestions for the council to consider in the making of the policy.
So the agenda item was us to come up with suggestions to you, not us talk about your policy.
That's right, because you will get to do that when the policy gets presented. So the council will work on the policy at the leadership retreat, then it'll come to a public meeting, you'll see the items there, and then you'll come and say, look, I like that or I don't like that. And that'll be where you'll be commenting on the actual policy itself. Yes, ma'am. Welcome, Janet.
Janet Russell, Roswell resident. First of all, we need to correct Mr. Yowell's comment about parking down at the Azalea Park. When the city of Roswell leased that land from Fulton County, one of the prohibitions was that we could not have paid parking at the river in that park. But there's nothing prohibiting us from having Roswell resident-only parking. I remember it very well. Frustration for me down there is if I want to ever go to that park on a weekend, forget it. It's full of Cobb, Bartow Hall, Henry, etc. No one, we have a few Fulton County. So even though I can't walk there, even though it's a half a mile because I have no continuing sidewalk on either side, I'm not allowed to use the park I've been paying for 35 years. As far as parking goes on Canton Street, there's already a lot of paid parking and it's on private lots, so the private property owners are making money. And they're always full. So obviously people don't care. If they're going to pay $12 for a 6-ounce glass of wine, I don't think they give a damn about $10 for parking. That said, downtown Woodstock, it's paid parking. City Springs, their underground parking garage is the first 2 hours free. After that, you pay to park. So if you've gone to a play or a musical there and it's more than 2 hours, you will pay. On special events like concerts where they have them out on the City Springs green lot, they have that pay thing that you pay with the machine. They covered that with like a hood, so people don't have to pay to park for big events. If you go to downtown, let's see, where else we got? Woodstock, Sandy Springs, downtown Marietta, the courthouse parking used to be free until they built Truist Lot and they realized they needed money. So now you have to pay to park in the Cobb County Hall parking lot for an event. And all over downtown Marietta, in that square area, Glover Park, is paid parking. That said, I think City of Roswell residents should be given a parking sticker, just like we don't have to pay to recycle a refrigerator or a television at the recycling center because we're Roswell residents. I think we ought to be getting value for our money, which is our taxes. There are dues to live in the club, and club members should not have to pay to park. It's pretty simple. You don't pay to go to your country club. Well, for most of us, this is our country club. It's our city club. We live in it. I get a little tired of, I've said this before and I'll say it again, with 40 years in the hospitality and tourism business, president of a national organization, the only person to represent the United States at the United Nations World Tourism Conference in Burkina Faso, that parking garage is in the wrong place. It's terrible. Now, I know you've made a commitment, but you know you can back out. You can get a divorce. The best place is the Wells Fargo parking lot, which is what I recommended 10 years ago when it was still a building standing because it had been a 3-story lot for over 30. It was a bank when I moved here in 73. To wrap it in small shops on the bottom, make it a 3-story lot, solarize the roof, ingress, egress for cars from Magnolia and for humans to Webb Street to make it an alley with patio tables and chairs like they do in a lot of older cities in Europe. People could relax, and you've created more of a commons area without pouring one bag of concrete. But that wasn't done. The other thing is the open air pavilion you want to put at that parking garage over there. What a dumb idea. Who wants to sit in an open air pavilion next to a state highway with exhaust pipes and tractor trailers and trucks? Oh no. But the previous mayor wanted an open air pavilion on his property, and for 5 years in a row, he came up with the open air pavilion for his property at the corner of Woodstock and Canton, and it was turned down by the HPC. So guess what he came up with here? An open air pavilion. Hello? Not much creativity going on in that brain. The fact that we bought the Masonic Hall is an insult. That building hasn't done jack in 50 years, but they got $2 million of our money. So I think if you're going to make a parking garage, it ought to be the first 2 hours free for everybody. But resident parking should have a sticker. We get it when we pay our taxes or you pay your rent in an apartment. And it goes on your car. It's not transferable. So that people can do what they want here. Somebody mentioned you wanted to pay to park at City Hall, and I started laughing. I said, right, you're coming here to pay your property taxes and you have to pay to park to pay your taxes? What's wrong with that picture? I suggest you reevaluate and get a divorce from that contract we made over there to buy that terrible location. It's going to put pressure on the infrastructure of Green Street, Plum Street. No one wants to, if they don't want to walk from here, they're not going to walk from there to Canton Street.
Thank you, Janet. Other Roswell residents? Mr. Wood? Yes, sir, Mr. Woodrow. Welcome, sir. Were you want the Cub Scout to come in front of you to speak?
I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry, Mayor.
Welcome, Dave. Glad to see you, sir.
My name is Dave Woodrow. I live at 12170 Brookfield Club Drive. I'll begin. There were a lot of apologies tonight, and I'll join that chorus. I wish I came here tonight with more coherent thoughts. I wish I had had a little bit more time to put my thoughts down on paper. I also wish that I had a little more information in order to clarify those thoughts about the parking initiatives that are being talked about here in Roswell. I probably should compare myself to the Geico caveman. I guess I've been living under a rock. This thing seems to be moving along pretty fast, and my message to the mayor and council would be to slow down. There's a lot of talent in this city. There's a lot of talent up here on the dais. And I would imagine that we don't always need a consultant, a paid consultant, to bring us various good ideas. Now, there may be, in fact, some great ideas that are coming from that initiative. But at the same time, I think that done properly, soliciting input from the various at-stake parties, including the average citizen in Roswell who comes downtown to have dinner, would be in the best interest of the city. And all I'm asking tonight, because there's always an ask, is to slow down, think this thing through, and let's not have an unforced error as we perhaps have had on some things in the past. Not necessarily naming this administration. It's not a personal indictment here, but I think that that is unfortunately, a common aspect of government, unforced errors. So let's think it through, and thank you very much for your time tonight, and I appreciate your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Woodrow. Appreciate your thoughts, as always. Yes, ma'am. Daryl.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Daryl O'Hare. I live at Arbor Creek in Roswell. I've been here for almost 26 years. I definitely have some, I guess I would give some suggestions about parking. I think that as residents, we have come to enjoy certain areas, certainly that are free. Some of the history, I think in the previous meeting y'all mentioned in 2018, the city and council, the mayor and council had agreed to activate some form of paid parking, which I believe is done through the Park Mobile app. I'm not sure, but that hasn't been enforced, and so we're now moving forward to this possible pay structure. I would not suggest having anything that is municipal related where citizens come and they may have to come and get their bills settled here or anything else coming into City Hall. I don't think that we should be charging anyone, whether they be a resident or not, that appear here in any way, shape, or form. So I think that certain parts of the city need to remain always free parking. I would call Parks and Rec, any kind of dog parks or anything that we own that we are maintaining under our current tax structure, as I understand it, and I'm doing it from a layperson's perspective, that those remain free to our residents, and we do not, I see it as a penalty if you're asking me to pay to come here to speak or to come to do anything that would be city business related. So as residents, I think that we don't need to pay for that particular aspect. For example, City Hall should remain free parking, in my opinion, at all times. Aside from that, I do think that I would like to suggest that the city make sure that you have a plan in place for if you are going to do paid parking to really figure out whether or not you are going to use something like a park mobile. Are you going to use a municipal structure? For example, in Savannah, when I spent a month in Savannah in August, and there they have a very, it's sort of like a sliding scale of times that you can go for free and the sliding scales of times when you have to pay a premium. And it is done through a municipal system, not through Park Mobile. I also think that it is possible to do a time structured thing. I think that Roswell residents also, I mean, I think the sticker system works. I think we used to use it at the recycling center. However, I would want to make sure that that was not Roswell's citizens have to come and get their sticker, but that it's simply mailed to every single resident in the city. And it's already just there. Or it's somehow, I know in the city of Atlanta, for example, it is done. People who live in midtown neighborhoods like Ansley Park or something like that, through the municipal system, they already have an online permit, and that permit is renewed every 2 years. Let's see. Survey your communities. You have opportunities all around. We have so many other ways of using our, our mobile devices. A way in which of just even getting a survey every time somebody goes to visit a restaurant. Did you pay for parking? You can. I'm sure some of these business owners also can help you with collecting this data, but we haven't collected the appropriate amount of data to come up with what was $2 million in the budget for 2025, as I understand it. And I don't think that that is a realistic number. I don't think it's impossible to monetize certain areas. But I think that we did give a bond for a parking deck. I know when I approved that, I did not think I was going to pay for parking in addition to paying for the parking deck. So I think that the citizens are looking for more proposals, and what I saw last month did not, in the work session, for me, it did not come across as realistic. And I think that we have, if we're not enforcing already paid parking, we need to address all of those types of things first and not just go based on 2018 and say, well, we were going to do paid parking, we haven't done paid parking, now we're going to do paid parking. I just think there are a lot of steps. But survey your community, that's the first thing I would suggest. And then everything else from there, I hope I've given you some good ideas or something you can go from. Happy birthday. Thank you very much for your comment earlier. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Daryl.
Right.
Thank you. The Roswell, yes, sir, in the very back with the purple jacket. Or welcome.
Thank you. And my name's Bill Ray. I'm your average citizen because you've never seen me here before.
Yes, sir.
So,
Bill, where do you live, Bill?
I live off Crabapple, just a little too far to walk on a cold evening, but pretty close.
Glad you're here.
I'm here. In fact, I wrote all of y'all an email a while back about this, and just wanted to express my concerns over this fully paid parking. I look at Roswell, lived here a long time. There's two big things that define Roswell. First, we're a great community, but the two big things that define us are our park system and Canton Street. That's what makes us a lot, Alpharetta's got their downtown, they don't have our park system. Woodstock's got their downtown, they don't have a park system. This, Canton Street's what makes us, along their park system, makes us. And I think this fully paid parking is going to be a headwind for citizens like myself that just want to come down for a short period of time, or even have people in town and you say, let's go walk around Canton Street. That changes when you wait a minute, let's go pay for parking and let's go walk around Canton Street. So, you know, kind of what I want to leave you with is I voted for the parking garage. You know, originally thinking my tax dollars would pay for building it. The fact of turning it into more of a revenue generator and then that offsets the taxes, that's, you know, again, it's this compromise thing. I'm okay with some parking, but just have some free access too. And honestly, it just incenses me that City Hall itself would be a paid parking area when this is talk about this is my building. And then I've looked at the numbers and I see that the large number of spots that you're looking for actually come from City Hall, so that kind of jeopardizes this plan, so I understand that too. But you know, as you're looking for solutions tonight, my advice is, heard about a survey, I think us regular citizens are strongly in favor of having some free access to this wonderful area downtown. And I don't think that's going to change. And I do believe it's going to hurt our businesses if we have to have paid parking that other communities do not. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny Peterson. I am a 9-year Roswell resident. I live on Cranwood Cove, just off of Crabapple. And I, like my predecessor, this is my first city council meeting here. An interesting topic to be weighing in on. But just wanted to share a little bit about myself. So I am an analytics executive. I've worked in government for over 2 decades. So running government and running large projects is not new to me. I also am a wife and mom. I have a 6-year-old and a 7-month-old. And we frequently come downtown to enjoy Canton Street, walk around, visit the businesses, go out to eat, things like that. So I love our city. When I moved here to Atlanta, I came to Roswell and knew this was my home. I went to Roswell Provisions and was immediately sold. I really do believe that this paid parking proposal will hurt our businesses. I agree with Ryan. The best way to bring in revenue is to have businesses pay you more taxes. I am not in favor of having paid for the bond for the parking deck and then again paying for parking when I want to come downtown and enjoy the city where I live. So just wanted to share that. I think I think this is another form of taxing citizens, and I've seen that you folks are really working hard to not raise millage rates, but then I also see things like the proposals for paid parking and parks and rec fees going up, and ultimately that really does come back to us at the end of the day in our pocketbooks. And so I appreciate wanting to have a zero-based budget and wanting to not raise those tax rates, but I think those are kind of mixed messages. And so I would encourage you to look at how we can build our businesses, make our community stronger, and help diversify our revenue base beyond our citizens paying taxes. Let's make money off those cocktails that were being mentioned earlier. I share concerns that others have mentioned earlier about the $2.2 million coming in parking fees. Just everything I've seen just doesn't seem like that's realistic. And I think seeing that was built into this year's budget, I appreciate the comments that you're open to hearing feedback. But if you're relying on that revenue coming in and being realized this year, I don't see how that's possible, if that's something you were expecting. And I appreciate the kind of distinction between Roswell residents and non-Roswell residents. I don't think in the end that would help service our business. If Roswell residents get free parking, I think that will still dissuade non-residents from coming here and and bringing business to our restaurants and other organizations downtown. And I think just generally for me, this is kind of part of broader concerns that I have about spending for the city. I think I'm really concerned about consulting spend in the city, hard-earned tax dollars going to things that I personally would not have hired consultants at that price point. And we're looking to offset that by things like paying for parking and increase fees for Parks and Rec. So just wanted to share those concerns and appreciate you folks looking to diversify the tax base here and diversify the revenue base for the city. I think there's other ways to look at it though. Thank you, appreciate it.
Peterson. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jenny. Kat, yes, ma'am? Welcome, Kat.
Hello, my name is Kat Plant. I live in Martin's Landing. I'm also a business owner, but I am not on Canton Street, so I have my own parking, and I don't have to worry about this as much, but I do live here, and I like to go down there. And I hate paying for parking. I hate it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's $1, it doesn't matter if it's $20, like, I hate it, like, just the principle of it. And many people in Roswell feel the same way. I feel, somebody said it earlier, that we are dealing with unforced errors here, and I think that's a continuous, reoccurring issue in this town. We make problems where there don't need to be problems. I would like to read something. Today is the day the soft opening of the downtown Woodstock parking deck is complete. Floors 2 through 3 of 6 are open and free for use just in time for Christmas and the New Year. This means hundreds of new open spaces await you here in the heart of downtown, and with hundreds of more coming very soon. Now get downtown, enjoy this new infrastructure addition, and support our local businesses. That's the mayor of Woodstock announcing the opening of their free parking deck, encouraging people to come down and visit their local businesses, spend their money, make life better for everyone. We don't have to make it so hard for the businesses. You've said, Mr. Mayor, that the days of subsidies in Roswell is over. This isn't a subsidy. You know, we need parking for these businesses. It's not just them asking for a handout. Y'all used Canton Street. That is your shining star. That's the diamond in the tiara. It is on every bit of, marketing that the city puts out. Don't make life so hard for them. Like, this should not be a constant battle. Aside from that, I don't understand the numbers that y'all have put out. This 40% of occupied use for 925 spots in this city, because we're not counting the Woodstock soccer fields. That's 925 spots that y'all are saying that's gonna be filled 40% of the time out of 12 hours a day, every day in this city. 70% occupancy on weekends. That is not realistic, and that's certainly not realistic from the get-go, whenever the get-go is, because we're already halfway through January. How are we gonna come up with this money? It does not make sense. The easiest solution to all this is stop spending so much money, stop paying these consultants, stop getting into these crazy big plans, but I know that's not the thing. I say that every time, but you never listen to me. Anyways. Don't make life so hard. These people are trying. It is hard running a business. It is very hard running a small business. Southern Post and all these big grand things that are coming in here, they're great. Like, I think it's wonderful that we're bringing in these big businesses, big projects, but that's not what makes Roswell Roswell. And it's not gonna be it's not. The shiny new objects are not what makes us town. It's the small businesses. It's the ones that have been here. It's Naylor Hall is Roswell. 1920 is Roswell. Table of Maine is Roswell. Like, those are the things that people love. It's not, a shiny new building. Anyways, thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
My name is Renee Debussy, and I live at 220 North Coleman Road. I've been a resident for 18 years. I am lucky enough to walk to Canton Street from where I live, but have a number of friends and women in my community that have expressed a lot of concerns. There's a couple different things and questions that I don't feel have been answered. Something that, I don't know if it was Ryan or Jenna that brought up, but employee parking. My daughter's been an employee of a number of businesses on Canton Street, businesses that she's made cash tips. And the walk back to the car, I know that's a security concern for a number of employees that I've spoken with, but I think that's something that we need to take into consideration. Is it going to be paid employee parking? What does that look like for our employees down there? Another thing, I come down here often professionally. I bring down customers, I bring down my doctors to come eat on Canton Street, and their number one complaint is parking. And I don't see this as coming up with a solution. If I'm gonna pay for their parking, I'm running over there, dealing with an app, trying to figure that out. I think there's a lot of confusion, and they generally opt to meet me in Alpharetta or Woodstock, which is disappointing because I'm so proud of this city, and I wish that it wasn't a deterrent for them. When it comes to the apps that I've witnessed down here, the older residents, I cannot tell you how many times I've parked down there, and if we're gonna utilize an app system, it's frustrating. It's hard for them. I walk over there, try and help them scan the app, put in their license plate number, help them pay, add an Apple, payment system to Apple. I think that eliminates a lot of our residents that have lived here for 30 or 40 years from parking down here. That's a big frustration. I myself got a parking ticket 2 weeks ago, went to 1920, paid to park, left my car overnight, was there before the business had even opened, and I got a $40 parking ticket. That deters me. That would deter anybody that has issues with parking down here. So that's it. Those are my questions and concerns.
Thank you, Renee.
Yep.
Thank you for coming. Other folks would like to talk? Yes, sir. Steve, welcome.
Good evening, Council. Steve Rockland, 73 Woodstock, 44-year resident, and I will say I have 3 businesses on Canton Street and also do a lot of construction in the city on Canton Street. Have built 7 or 8 of the restaurants, quite a few other things. And I just want to follow up with kind of what everybody has said tonight and a couple of comments and then a couple of thoughts. In the last year, I have been to downtown Gainesville, Cumming, Sugar Hill, Swanee, Woodstock, Ackworth, Alpharetta, Milton, Crabapple, looking for new locations for our restaurants. We are actually looking at one in downtown Gainesville right now. There are 2 free parking garages there. Parking on the square is free all the time. Most of the places I've gone to have had and has free parking. There are no parking. There are no 2-hour time limits, 3 hours. As you get closer to Metro Atlanta, yes, you'll have some of that. In the suburbs like we are, you do not have that. So if you're looking at it from my standpoint, and I think the restaurant standpoint, number one, free parking is an incentive for customers. Whether it's $1 or $10 or $5, it matters. People don't want to have to pay to park when they're coming down to spend their money in our restaurants. Number two, it's an incentive for new businesses. New businesses don't want to have to know that their customers are going to pay for parking and not be able to get free parking or have their customers or their employees have a place to park. Paying for parking, no matter how much it is a deterrent for the customer and the employees. And I think when you're looking at it, the perception is we've already paid for the parking garage. What funny business is it when you're going to charge to pay for the parking garage and customers come in to pay for it? Doesn't make sense, doesn't look good. It's not a good feeling. I don't want to pay for it. And I pay for parking when I'm on Woodstock and come down here sometimes because it's the only convenient way to be able to get there, and it gets me angry. And I really don't care for it. I think if you're going to do this, I think what the city needs to do, you need to do a survey. Don't be thinking about what you're doing on your own, but you need to go to every city and send a crew or the consultants and find out who pays for parking, how much is paid parking, what's free parking so that we're equal or better than everybody around us. We don't need to be paying for parking here when I don't have to pay for it in Crabapple, I don't have to pay for it in Gainesville, I don't have to pay for it in Cumming. It does not make sense. Why would somebody want to come to Roswell to have to pay for parking when they don't have to do it in any of these other northern municipalities? So when I sit here and say that, I think before you jump into what we're doing, doesn't matter where the parking garage is, those are things that you got to work out politically and where it's most convenient. But I think you need to find out before you start charging us for parking, make sure we're equal or better than everybody around us.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it very much. Other Roswell residents would like to address the matter? Thank you so much to our Roswell businesses, and thank you to our Roswell residents for addressing the issue tonight. Thank you very much, and we'll to be continued and more conversations. We appreciate your time, your thoughts, very, very much. Thank you, everyone. At this time, that will close the matter, and we will move on to the next agenda item, which is Environmental Public Works, and that is under our liaison, Councilmember Alan Sells. Alan, would you introduce the item, please, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. This item is for the approval of a resolution correcting meter labels in Exhibit C for water utilities for fiscal year 2025. It will be presented by Brian Watson.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, Brian.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On December 9th of 2024, as part of the FY25 budget process, a resolution was approved that revised the water utility fees. In that resolution, there were a couple of labels that were incorrect in Exhibit C, specifically related to the size of the meter under capacity fees. Please note, this resolution is to correct those labels, and please note that this resolution does not change any of those fees that were approved. It's just changing the labels that were incorrectly identified. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Brian. Does council have any questions or comments on the matter? Very good. Thank you. Councilor Sells, did you? Okay, thank you. Do any Roswell residents have any comments on this matter? Thank you very much. Bring it back. Councilmember Sells, would you like to make a motion, sir?
I would indeed. Thank you. This motion is for the approval of a resolution correcting meter labels on Exhibit C for water utility fees for fiscal year 2025.
Thanks, Councilmember Sells. Do I have a second? Second from Councilmember Johnson. By show of hand, all in favor, please raise your hands. Let the record show that the motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is public safety. Our liaison, Councilmember Sarah Beeson. Would you please read the item?
This is the appeal of denial of massage establishment license at 2850 Holcomb Bridge Road, Suite A130. This will be presented by Chief of Police Jim Conroy.
Thank you, Sarah. Welcome, Chief.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Jim Conroy, Chief of Police for the City of Roswell. This item is an appeal hearing regarding massage establishment license denial/revocation. I'm going to reference Roswell Ordinances 10-13-10, revocation of license 10-13-5D2, which is massage establishment license required. D2 specifically states the applicant failed to provide information required by this article for issuance of a license or has falsely answered a question or request for information in the application form. The applicant is Hansen Shu, and she's represented by attorney Michael Pugliese.
Perfect.
This business is Shu-Shi Foot Massage, 2850 Holcomb Bridge Road. It is also known as the Tao Spa Massage. That is how the signage on the establishment is labeled. There's a couple of sections in the application that were falsely answered. First is the massage establishment questionnaire, in which the applicant stated the number of employees, including the applicant, is 1. On the massage establishment license exemption, she wrote, "I'm the only person working there, I'm the only employee." And under the new employee list, it lists no employees. These are important questions as we deal with human trafficking related to spa and massage establishments. If you give me a moment, I would like to read from 2 police reports, and I need my glasses for these, so my apologies.
Chief Conroy, if I may, Mayor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Knight.
The first one's all right.
Okay, thank you.
Roswell Police, case number 2312-000198. The narrative reads, on December 5th, 2023, I, Detective Fields, delivered the new massage establishment license packet to 2850 Holcomb Bridge Road, Tao Massage. Upon entering the business, I spoke to Hansen Shu, who's the applicant, who received the packet from me. I explained to Shu the packet was due back on December 31st, 2023, and explained that the fee would be waived this year. While in the business, I conducted a city ordinance check. Shu stated she was the owner of the spa and had one other female identified as Shu Quinn Shu working for her. Shu Quinn Shu stated she was just at the spa cleaning and helping around the spa, but did not massage. She was not with a client, but did provide me with a massage permit issued by the city of Roswell that is now expired July 9th, 2024. This does not allow employees to conduct massage, but to do other things, cleaning or reception at the business. While conducting the city ordinance check, there was a bed located in the front room. I stated to Ms. Shu that she could not have a bed. I cited Hansan Shu with city ordinance for having a bed in the business. This next report does contain explicit language, so if there's anybody who might be offended, this would be a time to leave.
Same thing for the viewing audience, anybody listening or watching, if you're potentially offended by any language or thing that might be perceived as erotic, you might want to tune it out.
So this is Roswell Police, case number 24110000991. On November 26, 2024, I, Detective Fields, began an investigation into 2850 Holcomb Bridge Road, Tao Spa, for illicit activity, including prostitution, masturbation for hire, and adherence to City Roswell City Ordinance. Due to the investigation, the owner, Hansen Shu of Tao Spa, was cited, citation number U003504, for allowing an employee to massage in a place of business without a massage license. That's the same employee that was there the prior year. The investigative narrative reads as follows. At approximately 13:35 hours, an undercover officer in plain clothes arrived at the business. The undercover officer was equipped with an audio transmitting device and issued $500 of recorded City of Roswell funds prior to entering the business. The undercover officer was greeted by a female subject, later identified as Shu Quinn Shu, the employee that we've mentioned earlier, and escorted to room number 6. Once inside the room, Shu then asked the undercover officer how long they wanted the massage. The undercover officer advised they wanted an hour massage. Shu then began providing a massage to the undercover officer. While the undercover officer was laying on their stomach for the massage, Shu massaged from neck to the ankles. During the massage, Shu left the massage room and returned a short time later with a hot towel. Shu used the hot towel to wipe oil off the backside of the undercover officer. Shu then advised the undercover officer to roll over. Shu then began massaging the front side of the undercover officer. During that part of the massage, Shu began massaging the undercover officer's groin area. At approximately 45 minutes into the massage, she said massage was done, but then proceeded to grab the penis of the undercover officer. The undercover officer gave the takedown signal. Officers entered and secured the scene, pending the execution of the search warrant. A search warrant was obtained for the business, which executed, and $190 cash was seized. During the search warrant, the owner of the spa, Hansen Shu, arrived on scene. I spoke to the owner, stating she would need to close her business due to the city ordinance violation. The owner was cited for allowing an employee to work without a massage license. Shu stated to Detective Hall, this is Shu Quinn Shu, stated to Detective Hall that she was helping the boss out with massages because the boss had hurt her wrist. Shu does not have a state of Georgia massage license, but has an expired City of Roswell work permit for massage establishment, which authorizes individuals to work at the front desk as a cleaner or helping to run the business. Shu said that she helped clean the massage parlor. I charged Shu with masturbation for hire, as she did begin to stimulate the penis of an undercover officer. I'm charging her with giving massages in a place used for lewdness, prostitution, assignation, or masturbation for hire, as she used a place of business to conduct an act of masturbation for hire. I'm charging Shu with unlawful acts, as she proceeded to give a massage in a place of business without a state massage license. Shu was transported by Detective Gordon to the North Fulton Annex. For these reasons and for falsely answering questions on the massage establishment license application, the massage establishment license application for 2025 was denied. I will now turn the podium over to Mr. Pugliese.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. And I see you're not holding a lawyer to 5 minutes. You're actually letting me talk, which is brave of you guys. And I appreciate Chief Conway and also Assistant City Attorney Cusack. I have not met him, who called me and graciously kind of told me what to expect at this hearing. They called me on Stojam of this Friday. So I was really appreciative that they extended me the professionalism. There's an old maxim of law that says when the facts aren't on your side, you argue the law. When the law isn't on your side, you argue the facts. When neither the law nor the facts are on your side, you pound the table. I can assure you with Chief Conroy right here, I'm not going to pound the podium today. But I guess what I'm asking is the old Southern gentleman approach with the hat in the hand sort of thing. One of the important things that Chief Conway spelled out in the second report concerning the lewd conduct. It was not my client, Ms. Shu, who actually owned the establishment that was partaking in these events. It's important for the City Council to understand that Ms. Shu, who owns this particular establishment, has been doing business in the City of Roswell since 2017. And that date's important. At this particular location in 2020, she has been there since then, been operating there for almost 4 years. And all that time, there's been only 3 citations to Ms. Shu, the owner. And one was she improperly covered the front way or the front windows and doorway with a poster or something of that, which obstructed the view from outside in, which is a code violation. The other citations involved allowing this employee, just one employee, a friend, 2 occasions during that time span of operating without a license. In arguendo, if we concede that in fact that was wrong, I could bring you medical reports that she was injured, talking about Ms. Shu, the owner. But that's not an excuse. She violated the code. She shouldn't have done it. She should shut her doors. But with that being said, what I would ask the City Council to look at, there's no willful engagement or no willful pattern engaged to employ any employees. We're talking about one friend that she had working there 2 days since 2017 to the present time when she was shut down. Certainly that's not a pattern of employment. It just isn't. So what we would ask the City Council to consider, if they would, is allow me to get with your city attorney and also Chief Conroy to consider new restrictions on Ms. Shu's business, a more restrictive covenant, open audits, anything they might like, to give her the opportunity to continue her business. The reason I'm asking you this is when you're going to have another storefront shut down, she can't afford to pay the $3,000 a month rent on this place that she's been operating legally, with the exception of this one encounter, and I agree it's lewd, but it was an employee she had no control of. She wasn't in the business, according to the report. But that can be rectified, and you can put her under a more strict microscope, even more so than what your code allows. And that's our argument, to allow her and give her that opportunity and consideration and a reasonable resolution that at least asks that this matter be continued until I can get with the city attorney and come up with some more proper restriction on her. We're not saying that she should be avoid any type of penance. That's not what we're asking. But something to put in place to continue to operate like she has been since 2017. And that's our case.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time very much. Thank you.
And staff recommends denial of this appeal.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chief, very much. Sarah, this is underneath yours. I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to ask for any comment. Would you like to make a motion?
With this, I would like to motion the denial of the appeal of massage establishment license at 2850 Holcomb Bridge Road, Suite A130.
Thank you, Councilmember Beeson. Seconded by Councilmember Hills. By show of hands, all in favor of the motion made by Councilmember Beeson and seconded by Councilmember Hills, please raise your hands. Let the record show that the motion of denial is passed unanimously 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the Transportation Department. The esteemed council member from the east side of Roswell, along Council Purcell's, David Johnson, is the liaison for transportation. David, would you like to read the item under transportation, please, sir?
Yes, item number 4, this is an approval of a resolution to apply for a loan in the amount of $3 million and a grant in the amount of $1 million from the Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank, which is administered by the State Road and Tollway Authority. Director Littlefield will be presenting the item.
Thank you very much, sir. Welcome, Jeff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Doing a little dance up here. Sorry about that. The GTIB loan and grant request, I'm going to give you a little background on. The Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank is a grant and a low-interest loan program administered by the State Road and Toll Authority. Since inception, GTIB has provided over $216 million in loans and grants to highly competitive transportation projects. Loans have competed better than grants. In the last 2 rounds of funding, 100% of applicants requesting a loan only and 40% of applications requesting a loan grant combination received awards, compared to only 5% of applications which requested a grant only. City of Roswell was actually awarded a $5 million loan for resurfacing in 2021. However, we were denied a grant for the historic Gateway project in 2022. Going to town without even forwarding anything. All right, sorry, there we go. Thanks. The GTIP interest rates are tied to the GFA Georgia fund rates and are shown below. Applications are evaluated based on engineering value, economic impact, matching funds, and feasibility. The city has allocated $800,000 for engineering and right-of-way phases of this project, which is the Green Street project shown here. This application is actually for Phase 1, which would cover from Cherry Way down to Highway 9, and then it would also convert Plumtree into a multi-use trail. $4 million is needed to complete this phase, which is Phase 1 shown above, or back here, sorry. Staff recommends applying for a loan grant combo, which is $3 million for the loan, $1 million for a grant. Again, loan interest rates are shown below with the time frames associated with each of the years. There is a $250 application fee that RDOT would need to pay out of existing funds. Any grant funding would reduce the amount of necessary city funding. And we are asking for approval only to submit the application. We're not asking you to accept the loan and grant. When it's determined in June of this year, we will come back and see if that's actually the route we want to go. So maybe we find additional funding without taking out the loan, but it's just an opportunity for us to move forward with the Green Street activation plan.
Thanks, Director Littlefield. Awesome as always. Yeah. Any thoughts, comments, or questions? Councilmember Sells?
Thank you, Director Littlefield. Is are the terms of the loan put to us, or do we negotiate those? I know that's not tonight's business, but
We select the terms.
Okay.
Let me go back to them. We select the terms, which they have an interest rate associated with the term.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Any other thought? Yes, ma'am. Councilor Beeson. Councilmember Beeson.
To clarify, you said this is applicable only for phase 1 of the project, correct?
Yes, and the reason why is because we can only ask for $4 million, which is 25% of the program. The program has $16 million in it, and so we're asking basically for the limit.
Understood. To clarify for those on council and for the city attorney, as we've had ongoing conversations related to this, full disclosure, family owns property at the corner at the end of Green Street. Just because this is only to apply for the grant, and the property that I'm talking about in question is in phase 2. I'll continue to move forward with anything related to phase 1, but will remove myself from phase 2 discussions.
Thanks, Sarah. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Fantastic. Would any Roswell residents, yes, ma'am, Janet, like to weigh in on this particular matter of approval to resolution to apply for a loan in the amount of $3 million and a grant in the amount of $1 million from the Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank, which is administered by the State Road and Tollway Authority? This is simply giving, council is going to give permission, if so inclined and voted on, to allow them to make the application.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Janet Russell, same as before. When you guys started talking about buying that property for the Masonic Hall and all that land to build the parking garage, Green Street was very visible as part of the project. And I stood here and said, that is a bad idea. I like the idea of making Plum Street pedestrian only. It doesn't take $10 million or $1 million. It takes 3 planters, which are concrete, which you could roll out at the end where Plum Street dumps into Green Street, and bingo, you have a pedestrian walkway. It doesn't take an engineer and a consultant and a commission and another vote. Just do it. What did Nike used to say? Just do it. As far as Green Street goes, I said in my comments, the next thing that will be torn down is the nursing home, which houses mostly Medicaid patients, but we love all our people in Roswell, so let's get rid of them. As far as traffic goes, it was going to be one way, I believe, on Green Street, which is going to make it a total mess, dumping people either out by the firehouse or dumping them down by the soccer fields. When there's a game, it's always packed. When synagogue has their services, it's busy. I don't know, I'm not trying to be mean, but what planet do you people live on, and where do you live in Roswell? Because I live downtown, and I am fully aware of traffic patterns. And I also know that you are clueless when you realize what's there. I remember years ago when Bill Greenwood tried to have a little farmer's market there next to the Yellow House when we had Swallow at the Hollow. Probably none of you knew Swallow at the Hollow, or maybe you did. But he was put down by the city for trying to create a little community thing there when Greenwood's was there too. Now, I can't imagine somebody buying one of those townhomes on Blacksmith Row, where Ray Moss, who was our fire chief, used to have a blacksmith shop, hence the name, or where those new condos are on Green Street that are probably $900,000, who really want to live next to a parking garage and want to make that a one-way street of people running, going fast. Right now, because there are no sidewalks and there's very little paving, people go really, 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 really slow. And that's the whole point of slowing it down to make it walkable. You make it wider, you make it like NASCAR. It's gonna be a mess, and I think to apply for this money, what's gonna be the total interest on a 10-year loan on all this millions? You got the percentage, but what's the actual money we're gonna pay? Because right now we're squeezing every dime. And you guys may not be there, but in 5 years or 10 years, what's the interest on that loan gonna be? Still being paid, still being paid. But mark my words, the nursing home will be knocked down. And then I will say, shame on the city of Roswell.
Thank you, Janet. Any other comments from Roswell residents on the approval of the resolution to apply for a loan in the amount of $3 million and a grant in the amount of $1 million from the Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank, which is administered by the State Road and Tollway Authority? Thank you very much. I'll bring it back to council for any final thoughts, comments, or questions. Councilmember Johnson? Very good. All right, thank you. Councilmember Johnson, would you like to make a motion, sir?
I would. This is a motion for approval of a resolution to apply for a loan in the amount of $3 million and a grant in the amount of $1 million from the Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank, which is administered by the State Road and Tollway Authority.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Sells, seconds. Thank you. By show of hands, all those in favor, please raise your hands if you're in support of the approval of the resolution. Let the record show that the resolution approval passes 6-0. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the City Attorney's report. City Attorney Davidson, would you read your item, please, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. The first item I have is the approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Roswell Development Authority to complete specific scopes of work related to economic development projects brought forward by the city. As you know, we have several outstanding economic development projects coming forward in the city. We look to utilize the Development Authority and the Downtown Development Authority. This would kind of give us a scope, a master services agreement to where we could provide them with scopes of work. We could help them with their legal costs associated with those projects, and they could actually execute some of the necessary projects for which the city couldn't do themselves, but the Development Authority and the Downtown Development Authority have the power under state law to proceed.
Thank you, David. Does council have any thoughts, comments, or questions on the matter? Councilmember Beeson.
So the language of both of these is intentionally vague because the intention is to create a vehicle for the future statements of work, correct?
That's correct.
Got it. So this is the overarching umbrella, and then each individual statement of work will come to mayor and council for approval moving forward.
Correct.
Okay, so that explains the vagueness of the language. I'm good.
And in your world, an MSA.
Yeah.
An MSA to set up for an SOW.
Right?
Understood.
That's what this is.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, Councilor Sells.
And Sarah, these will be specific to a project. So what we're really trying to do is to bring the project in line basically through our process and then engaging them at the appropriate time with clear instructions about how it's to be done. That's really the purpose.
Understood. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? If not, I ask any Roswell residents if they'd like to weigh in on item number 5. Thank you very much. Bring it back to council for any final thoughts. Councilmember Sells, do you have, this is yours, not yours. Sorry, David, it's not yours. Do I have a motion? Yeah, well, you do guys look very, yes. Do I have a motion on the matter? Motion, would you read the motion for me? Do you want me to read it?
Thank you. Motion to approve item number 5. Are we doing these together or separate?
Separate, unfortunately.
Motion to approve item number 5, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Roswell Development Authority, RDA, to complete specific scopes of work, SOW, related to economic development projects brought forward by the city.
A motion has been made by Councilmember Christine Hall. Thank you, Christine. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Councilmember Sells. By show of hands, please show, all those in favor, please raise your hands. Let the record show that the motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next agenda item is also on the city attorney's report. David Davidson, would you read that, please, sir?
Thank you. Number 6 is approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Downtown Development Authority to complete specific scopes of work related to economic development projects brought forward by the city. And as stated earlier, this would be basically the same agreement, but with the Downtown Development Authority instead of the Development Authority.
And I'll say my comment for this one. This is big stuff. This is really cool. This is, if you were to draw up a game plan and when the DDA was created 20 years ago, this is what you wish you would have done, which is basically create an overarching agreement to how you engage, and then you create statements of work for basically each separate project. And what this does is it allows the talent of people in the city, who we have on our DDA and RDA. We have amazing people, amazing talent, but allows them to execute with very specific scopes and of what the arrangement is, rather than just kind of having to freehand. So, which I think is very unfair to ask people to come in and say, look, I need you to create something, or create something out of what? So this is kind of bringing a lot of discipline to the process. And I think, and by the way, both the DDA and the RDA are loaded up with work if these are, well, one's been approved and the other one's approved. And then the SOWs are going to be coming at you fast, I believe, for you to evaluate and look at. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Councilor Sells.
I would just go one step further in what you just said. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Mayor. But the objective here is really through our economic development efforts, we're out seeking those opportunities and bringing them in, as opposed to letting them drive by and stop in Roswell. So to those who talk about Canton Street and other businesses, it is what it is. It's hard to scale Canton Street beyond what it is. So we have to think of other larger businesses and other opportunities, and that's what we're doing. And so this whole process means that it's birthed here in City Hall by the economic development team that we have, and it's consistent with our vision. And then we're bringing the RDA and the DDA in specifically to be a party to that as it goes forward. So the first move is in the city so that we know what can be entitled and what we could do. And that's the reason for this structure. And I think it's wise, and I applaud the mayor for doing it.
That's well said, Alan. I think it's us. It's all this excellent team. All right. With that being said, are there any other further comments from council? Any Roswell residents who'd like to speak on item number 6? Yes, ma'am. Daryl.
It's really, Daryl O'Hare, Arbor Creek, it's really just a question. Does this include, for example, the soccer complex type of business development that has been sought by the city, or are we talking more just within the downtown structure and also in the, I'm sorry, the other one has already been talked about, but the Development Authority? I just didn't know if, it sounds like what y'all are doing is trying to create sort of like a memorandum of understanding. You're going to come up with the scope of work, and then you're going to nail that down, as Sarah was just saying, to be more clear about that. So this is just the first step? Yeah. That is just my question.
Daryl, it is, and I probably should let David or Alan answer it. They'll answer it much more eloquently than I would. But to your point, you have the Downtown Development Authority and the Roswell Development Authority. Okay. And so they're both chartered by the state, and they both have economic powers of things they can do, kind of like a toolbox for the city for different projects. When one of those projects is identified, an SOW, a statement of work will get created, then it'll come to the council for approval. Then the RDA or the DDA, depending upon which one has which, like whatever, name your candy on which one of those it is, then they'll have specific things they'll have to go execute for that project.
Great.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mayor, if I could.
Councilor Sells.
You know, the RDA and DDA is staffed by volunteers. So it's really hard for them to lead negotiations, sometimes that, quite frankly, can take, 18 months to do. And so we're bringing that function in-house and staffing it with people who can speak to the issues of the forecast and sort of making it a thing before we ask the RDA to lead it. And I think that's what's been missing in the past, is the RDA has a hard time navigating an attenuated negotiation over a long period of time. It's just hard for volunteers to do, and so that's what we're doing here. But they do have a specific and statutory role to play in all of these developments. That's really, when we talk about what Sear World is doing and those kinds of things, that's what we're talking about, is this right here. This is the long shaft of the tip of the spear is out there getting the economic development going, and that's what's going on, and that's what we're doing here tonight.
I'm just going to add to that, because there's so many things, and we may touch on, I don't think we're going to touch on this with clarity of state of the city, because this is much more specific. But it's also why you had to have a massive reorganization internally. You had to bring in a level of expertise and acumen into the city organization, the city government, to be able to manage and negotiate these kind of deals in the long term. That's why you have Don Stevens here. That's why Bill Gotcho's here. That's why you've had elevation of talent inside the city. you had to have certain skill sets because this is not just run-of-the-mill stuff. And to navigate it, and you're going to see it tied in, like, I think that's why I was so glad we have the parking thing. Like, part of this is to not have an unforced error. It is to put in the public discussion. At the meantime, it is also being worked on from a very sophisticated side. A lot of the comments that were made tonight earlier, those are right in line with a lot of the thinking's going on, particularly like compare and contrast, different opportunities, and being very clear about, hey, can we make this happen? So, to Alan's point, the IGA for the DDA, the previous RDA that you just voted on, and the DDA, these are all tied to this, Daryl. So your question is incredibly relevant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just say, you know, one of the things, it's a challenge that when I came on council that I hadn't recognized from the outside was the fact that, you know, all of the people here have day jobs delivering services to the residents. And so what was missing is that staff level white space in their day to analyze transactions and think about them holistically. That's what's been missing, and that's what we're working on developing.
That's a fantastic distinction, Alan. That's probably as good as distinction as possibly conveyed. That's really well said. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Russell, Miss Janet, Miss Russell.
Regarding the DDA.
Yes, ma'am. The Downtown Development Authority. This is.
I know what it is. How much control are they going to have? I'm a little concerned. I have very bad taste in my mouth from the previous DDA, all volunteers, but they all had their thumb in the bucket of water. They're the group that took over the project. They were charged with redeveloping from Holcomb Bridge Road to here on Highway 9 about 10 years ago. And instead, they decided to take the low-hanging fruit and start at the City Hall. And they managed to get the City Council to spend $2.5 million on design ideas, to clear-cut the forest of trees around this property, to move the faces of War Memorial to behind the slave quarters on the Smith Plantation. And they couldn't understand why everybody was against it, but the council kept saying, okay, okay, okay. They didn't accomplish one thing because, of course, their idea was so bad to move the War Memorial when engineers said we've never moved a memorial that wasn't damaged. And $2.5 million later, that DDA, I could tell you a few of the people's names on there, they're hand-selected by the city because they're the good old boys who had potential to make money in this city from anything they did. I'll be just calling it like it is. So when you guys start picking the DDA and the RDA, don't pick the guy that owns a business, a big business, or a lot of land, or a lot of rental properties, because he's in it for the money. He's not in it for the economic future of our city. I've been watching it, and we're up to here in the Good Old Boy Network.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Thank you. Any other thoughts or comments from Roswell residents on item number 6? Thanks so much. Thank you for your comments, everybody. Bring it back to council for any additional thoughts, comments, or questions. Thank you, council. Do I have a council member that would like to make a motion on this item? Yes, sir.
In regard to item number, thank you. Item number, whatever this is.
Item number 6.
Item number 6. This is the RDA one?
Yes, sir.
This is
DDA,
one. Okay,
DDA,
good.
sorry.
I make a motion that of approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Downtown Development Authority to complete specific scopes of work related to economic development projects brought forward by the city.
Thank you, Councilmember Sells. It's seconded by Councilmember Johnson. By show of hands, please show your favor positively by raising your hand if you support the approval of this motion. Let the record show that the motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. City Attorney David Davidson, would you read the last item on the City Attorney's report?
One more item.
Oh, yes? What's that?
May I, Mayor?
What we got?
I have one more item.
What we got?
And
No,
that
no.
item may have to do with the mayor, who just celebrated a birthday yesterday. So we, as your colleagues, would like to help you continue to celebrate today by singing happy birthday.
We have to turn our mics on?
Yes, everybody has to turn their mics on. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kurt.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
We
Very
hope you
sweet.
enjoyed your day off on your birthday.
Thank you,
Your
Christine.
one day off.
Thank you. You guys are very sweet and very kind. Thank you. That was fun. Thank you. Well, there is no city attorney's report tonight.
Is that a birthday present?
That is a birthday present. Well, what it is Christine has got her Vikings, and they've been on for an hour, and she's.
And they're behind.
I'm sorry. And so I will say that being that there are no other items on this mayor and council meeting, this meeting of January 13th, 2025 is adjourned. Thank you very much. All right, we got the rule, don't we?